And for the record, it's not going to be Saquon Barkley, so don't even worry about that, not even for a second. So it kind of seems like throughout this year so far, there's been a lot of talk about mid-round picks, late-round picks at all the different positions, and I have also been guilty of this. But what I have not seen a lot of is people taking hard stances on who they think will finish number one at any particular position. I can't say this video is going to be quite as spicy as my wide receiver one was because I did not pick someone that has ever finished as a wide receiver one. But when it comes to this, I did want to give my take on who I think will finish as the running back one in 2025 and try and back it up with some information. So we're gonna hop right into it. So I did my best to review the data from all these different running backs, basically like the top 15 guys by my estimation. I tried to project out their touches, their receptions, their yards, their touchdowns, and really figure out like, okay, like who of these guys could finish as RB1s this year in 2025. The only problem was there was only a handful of guys, maybe 4 or 5 max, who were going to have enough receptions, touchdowns, yardage, carries, everything to be able to be the number one running back in fantasy football. So I had to kind of factor that in. So then I started thinking like, okay, like what about situationally? And then I kind of was able to eliminate some more people out of the pool, out of those maybe 4 or 5 guys. And then I came to my final conclusion. Imagine a guy who is going to have an opportunity to get more touches on his team and has already been a top 10 running back the past 2 seasons in fantasy football. So if we imagine already top 10, 2 years, one of the years he did really well, and he's going to get more touches. He's on a team where there's going to be a regression of the actual offense, which sounds kind of weird, right? If I'm projecting these guys out, how can I say the total offense of their team is going to do worse, but he's going to do better? I do anticipate for this team, because of some coaching staff changes, big hint, there is going to be a regression in points scored and regression in the amount of yardage for this offense. They were both top 5 in both categories last season. I still think they'll be close to top 10, but I do not think they'll be quite as elite and efficient as they were in 2024. So because of this coach turnover and because of this offense taking a miniature step back, what I anticipate seeing is that we're going to have a team that's going to rely more heavily on their key components and some of like the little accessory pieces, quote unquote. They're going to get less work, less touches, less receptions, less everything, and the ball is going to be funneled through more of these 3 primary guys on this football team, that being a wide receiver, a tight end, and this running back. The other big thing for this running back is that their running mate, their other running back in the backfield, the last 2 seasons has missed considerable time. I think it was 3 or 4 games in both of the last 2 seasons. What that has set up for this player is to increase their workload an exponential amount and be able to finish as a top 10 running back for the past 2 seasons. Again, less effective offense, but they're going to get more touches. We look at the fact that there's only a handful of guys that can realistically be projected to be the number 1 overall running back in reality. Now, something could change. Crazy things have happened. Maybe Ashton Jeanty is the best running back of all time. I highly doubt it, but it is possible. So for this player, it is none other than Jahmyr Gibbs. I know that Jahmyr Gibbs is not a crazy spicy take because obviously he finishes the RB1 last season. The biggest issue and the reason why I wanted to get this out there is obviously in most of your drafts, you have Saquon and Bijan going before him, both of which he obviously beat out last year and both of which I believe in 2025 he will beat out as well. The other real issue that I keep seeing all over social media and YouTube is people out there saying, well, Devon Achane, Chase Brown, or Ashton Jeanty can be the number 1 running back in fantasy football in 2025, and I'm going to confidently tell you, sure, maybe on some of them, a lot of them, no, there's just not a way with workload touches and the way the ball actually gets fed through the offenses of those specific players. But when it comes to Jahmyr Gibbs, it is going to be, in my estimation, him, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Sam Laporta, who the ball is going to go through. I think you're going to see a little bit less receptions and targets for JMO, and I believe you're going to see a little bit of a lesser workload for David Montgomery. I also think that there's the real reality where, third time's the charm, where unfortunately David Montgomery is going to get hurt because he is more of the in-between the tackles power running back for this team where he could end up getting injured and missing a chunk of the season. Jahmyr Gibbs is really set up in a great spot because he is a focal point of this team. It does seem like a lot of times when teams get new offensive coordinators and they have a good running back room, they tend to try and run the ball a little bit more and establish it even more than they did in the years past. Great again for Jahmyr Gibbs and also great for David Montgomery to some extent as well. So if we're anticipating him in a position where he's going to get more touches, which is another big thing for him too, he hasn't had the crazy workload like Bijan has, Saquon has, Derrick Henry has. His touches were dramatically lower than all of theirs last year, and he still finished as the RB1 in fantasy football. I'm anticipating seeing him have a step up in the amount of work he's doing with a similar level of efficiency. It's not far-fetched for him to finish as the RB1. Again, he did it last year, but he is my pick of the guy who should be being drafted as the #1 running back in fantasy football, because I believe wholeheartedly he will finish as the #1 running back in fantasy football in 2025. Now, I can be honest and tell you it's not that spicy. It's not that crazy of a take. I know for some people it's not spicy enough, so it's like, oh, did you really think about it? And then for some people it's like, well, obviously it's going to be Saquon or Bijan. You're crazy. Jahmyr Gibbs is, whoa, Ben Johnson left, whoa, all this other stuff. So I apologize if I didn't go extreme enough, and if I'm sorry if I went too safe, but again, just like I did for my wide receiver pick, I have to go with the person based on my estimation, my projections, who I think is going to finish as the #1 at the position. It just turned out that in this case, he's going a little bit higher towards the running back one as far as how he's being drafted than that other player was at the wide receiver position. Hopefully this video helps you get a little bit closer to winning your fantasy football championship in 2025. Hopefully if you draft Jahmyr Gibbs and follow my advice, then hopefully you win. Hopefully you say, hey, you know what? I thought it was going to be Bijan. I saw your video. I picked Jahmyr Gibbs. I won my league. And you comment, thank you, and all that other stuff I just said as well. If you are somebody who maybe you're like, you know what, Ethan, I appreciate this video. It was entertaining. Your opinions, whatever. I agree, I disagree, whatever. But I got my first round on lock. I'm good to go. Then maybe you are somebody who's like, you know what, those later round picks, those mid-round picks, I'm not as confident about. Don't worry, I have a video or videos somewhere around here, and if it's just one, there's more out there, I promise, of mid to late round picks. And in a lot of those video reviews that I'm doing, not only am I watching the actual tape, so I'm not just putting out statistics and saying, oh, this is my guess. So not only am I reviewing like the statistics, not only am I doing projections, but also most importantly, I'm watching the tape for those three. It hopefully will set you up where you're going to see other people that you're not hearing talked about as much on the social media spaces, and will give you a little bit more of an edge to win your league in your later round picks than some of your league mates who haven't followed my channel yet. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. No, hopefully you guys will see me again real soon. And until then, y'all have a blessed day. Bye.